Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Gooner and our show, The Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hi bro, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm doing good. Just enjoying a nice spring day. Looking forward to moving on from the past couple weeks. Been pretty frustrating. I'm sure we'll get into it, but yeah, it was a frustrating week for Austin FC as well. That whole weekend was just a whole weekend full of shared points of draws, man. So I'm getting kind of annoyed of just dropping points. So hopefully moving forward, we can start getting back on track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, I'm still really disappointed with the result in the end. It's just, oh man, I'm watching it. Went 2-0 up. I was like, oh yes, we've got this. Gonna get a good, comfortable win. Hopefully, we can close the goal difference to City. And then they managed to get back into the game, and it's a difficult one to take. With the Liverpool one, we were looking at it, and it was debatable whether you would say it was a point gained or 2 points dropped in the end. That was a debatable one to say. This one
Mhm.
is 2 points dropped without any doubt. We know that West Ham is a team we should be beating. All right, it's difficult at their stadium, a hostile atmosphere. It's a London derby. They really need the points as well. They're in a relegation battle, so they're fighting hard. And in different circumstances, you would say, okay, it's not a bad point. But in the situation we're in the title race, and with the
Yeah.
state of the game where we are 2-0 up again, like the week before at Liverpool, we're 2-0 up and we're not able to close out the show. That was really disappointing. It's football, these things happen. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, man. I mean, now that, we've had two straight matches of essentially doing the same thing, like coming out strong, looking good, um, coming up to, 2-0 ahead and then just kind of going flat and letting the other team back in. Um, it's a little bit more frustrating and a little bit slightly worrying in a sense that, we are hitting a wobble, I like to call it. And it's happened before. Um, we've gone to two or three games at a time where we're not getting ideal results. And this is just another one of those. And I don't really think that it's a case of players feeling the pressure. I Because if we were feeling the pressure, we wouldn't be jumping out to these big 2-0 leads and and looking as good as we are out the gate. Like, I mean, against Liverpool, against West Ham, both matches, 45 minutes at least, we were flying, we were looking good, but then we just give up a goal. And then I don't know if it's, I don't even think it's like any level of like arrogance or anything like that. Um, I just think it's as you talked about a little bit, or as you mentioned a little bit in like our WhatsApp chat, but like it's a little bit of like the inexperience coming into play. Like we're no longer I mean, we're top of the league, so we're no longer sneaking up on anybody, right? Like we're expected to be up there. Like we're expected to show up and play well, and we're going to get the best performances out of every team moving forward. Um, so that started with Liverpool, right? They're fighting for their lives to get top four. West Ham fighting for their lives to stay in the Premier League. Yeah, we're going to get their top notch. This is like their final. Against us. Every team that we play moving forward is going to treat it like a final, and we just have to match that intensity. And I think that's where the inexperience comes, where it's like last year, it was the battle for top four, and this year it's battle for the title. So stakes are being raised, and I think we're just past couple weeks just struggling to maintain that intensity. And once the game gets, especially for this one, once they drew, um, I think I personally was like, let's just go into this game and not lose it, or let's finish it off and not lose it. Like I was relieved to get a point, but you know, it was just still disappointing overall. And um, yeah, just nobody really had a good performance. There wasn't anything good to pull out of it. I think even some of the substitutions were a little questionable. I just think everybody had a bad day at the office, which happens, as you said, and um, I don't know. I hope we could. The my ultimate feeling about this whole game was like it's not a terminal thing. Like it's not the end of the world. This is something we can still turn around. I mean, if you clip the first 45 minutes of both the Liverpool and West Ham game, I mean, there's so much to be proud of and so much to be excited about, right? Like we're still a good team. So we just need to refocus and just have that killer instinct. And I think long term, that's the big next step for us as a squad is becoming killers, right? Because if you look at City against in their match against Leicester, sure they won 3-1, but if you look at the XG, Leicester could have very easily tied that match up. And but the thing was they went up 3-0. Like we need to get to that level where yes, it's 2-0, let's bury him and go 3-0. When they came back to 2-1, let's put it at 3-1, finish this off. Because I think that one little sequence, man, where Bukayo Saka missed the penalty that could have put us 3-1. Like 2 minutes later, they they draw level with us, and then after that, it was just like it sucked. So yeah, just little fine margins, man, and it sucks. It's very upsetting, but I still feel like obviously we're still in driver's seat. It's just the roads looking a little bumpy right now, and we have like City on our tails, so it's a little scary, but I still feel confident overall. It's very disappointing, man, because I think I saw a stat that said um like we've dropped more points this month already, 4 points compared to like a bunch of other like I don't know what the games were, but like we've gone a long time without dropping points and we've already dropped 4 points this month and we can't have that. So if we want to win the title and if we want to see, good things happen for the remaining games, we got to kind of really uh look at Southampton and just look to go for the kill and build some confidence going into that match against City.
Yeah, bro. It's say must win many times, but this is really must win. Was the leeway we haven't got that leeway that we had before we dropped these 4 points now. So City are right behind us. It is if they win their game in hand, just 1 point. But we've got a great opportunity to go beat Southampton, and then they're not playing this weekend because we're in the FA Cup. So we could go to the Etihad 7 points ahead of them. I know they have 2 games in hand, but still, that does put a lot of pressure on them. They've got to go win them games in hand, and it'll put pressure on them to beat us at the Etihad. So there's still a lot to play for. I've been seeing a lot of things online, and I'm finding it some of it really amusing. When people are saying it's done, like it's far from done. It's far from done. Before after the Liverpool game, people talk about it's in City's hands now. I mean, now we're hearing it's done. Like it's not done. There's still 7 games to go. We can still do this. There's no reason why we cannot go to the Etihad and get at least a draw and win our remaining games, and that would be enough for us to win the league. So long way to go. Just got to be better at closing out games. That's the one thing we've really got to be working on. As you said, that more about going for that killer third, fourth goal, put the game to bed fully, and that hopefully will come with experience. But for the here and now, we've got to find it now. We talk about a young
Hmm.
team, they're going to learn from this in seasons to come, but we've got this great opportunity now. So hopefully we can find that. We're on a great run of form before these 2 draws. We've won 7 games in a row. And in these
Hmm.
2 games as well, we've shown we're playing well. So, no, just let's hopefully smash up Southampton, get a real confidence booster there, beating them hopefully 4-5-0. That'll also help our goal difference situation as well. So yeah, just some of the stuff I've seen as well that a lot of blame was going on Arteta saying these substitutions. We don't know what's going on with the players and their fitness. Like the Gabriel Jesus one, we don't know the situation. He's come back from a long-term injury. This wasn't a short injury, just a few weeks. It's a long injury he had. So we don't know the situation there. But also, Arteta would want to have put faith in the players on the bench as well to say, you guys are fresh, come on and make an impact. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But these are his judgment calls he has to make. And unfortunately, sometimes you're going to get them a little bit wrong. But we don't know. You can't say it's wrong. You got to try things, and yeah,
Yeah.
just sometimes people criticize him for not trying to make the substitutions and leaving it far too late, or making the changes that they think is not right. But it's a game of opinions in the day. He's there making the call for what he thinks based on his judgment, what he knows about the players' fitness levels. You can't put it on him. He's been so good for us this season. Some of the stuff I saw, I was like, come on, this guy has been amazing for us. The way he's turned things around, we've got to give him a lot of credit. And it's just, I guess it's for fickle nature. You get that. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion, no doubt about it. And like I say, I find it from my side the wrong opinion, but there is no right or wrong at the end of the day. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I think it is a bit harsh to put back criticism on Arteta. He's a young manager himself, and he's learning as well, and he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, man. And yeah, I might have said that I didn't like the subs. I guess I'll rephrase it and say like I thought the subs were needed and timely. They just didn't work, is what I kind of really meant to say. Like Leandro Trossard for Gabriel Jesus, I feel like that's more like Jesus isn't fit to give us 90 minutes just yet, right? As you said, coming off a massive injury where he was out for a long time. He's still been effective, but you kind of want to take care of him and let him come back. Um, I thought the one that was really important that I felt was necessary was, or very necessary, was Jorginho coming in for Thomas Partey, and I thought that Thomas Partey, even though he's one of the veterans of the squad, I thought he looked rattled out there. Especially he made that mistake that kind of gave Declan Rice the ball, that ended up leading to the penalty, which gave them their first goal. After that, he started like giving the ball away a little bit, and I think they even zoomed in on his face at some point. He just looked like shook, and I mean, it is what it is. It sucks, but so I thought Jorginho coming in was a good sub to kind of like steady everything, and then Fabio Vieira for Kieran and Reece Nelson for Gabriel Martinelli. Like I thought were fine, just ultimately it didn't work out. I read some stuff, a lot of people saying they should have taken Saka out. Um, and I kind of agree with that, but I also don't blame Arteta for not taking him out. Like, you think this guy's missing a penalty, and then you take him out. Like, that's kind of it's a bit ruthless. And I know Arteta is getting a reputation for being ruthless in a good way. Like, I thought this would have been ruthless in a bad way. Like, no, like he's our star player. You got to give him the opportunity and continue to give him like yeah, give him the opportunity to earn it back. And he's already done so much for this club, so much for the country of England, right? Like he's a great player, and I think keeping him in was the right move. But he still had like a difficult game. I mean, nobody really had a good game. I mean, everybody probably could have gotten subbed off. And I think if we had more subs, maybe Bukayo comes off at some point. But you can only sub off so many people. And again, as you said, like we don't know what's going on with the players' fitness and just what's going on. Arteta had a plan, and he sticks with his plan. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna just deviate from the plan no matter what. So yeah, man. Short term, I mean, as you mentioned before this little wobble, we've had a 7-game win streak. Even with this wobble, we're at 9 games unbeaten, right? Like two draws in a row on top of 7 straight wins, where a lot of those wins, if you look at the wins, if we kind of go back a little bit, um, we fell back behind against Villa, but just ended up storming back. Leicester 1-0 could have been more than that. We dominated that match. 4-0 to Everton, 3-2. Obviously, that comeback win against Bournemouth was a little bit more dramatic than in hindsight. Like we should have maybe dominated that one more. But then we followed up with a 3-0 domination of Fulham. Same thing with Crystal Palace 4-1, Leeds 4-1. So like a bunch of those wins, we've shown that killer instinct. We just went out there, dominated from the kickoff to the final whistle. So like we've shown that we can do that. And then we just had 2 straight matches where we failed at doing that. And just everything, I guarantee you, if we can do that on Friday against Southampton, the whole narrative is just going to not necessarily flip all the way back to what it was before, but everything is just going to be more positive, right? And so I think that's what we just that's what I'm saying. It's not a terminal, like it's not an end of the world thing right now because we've seen what this team can do in their killer instinct. You know, like they've done it before plenty of times. They just need to get back on the right track. And so I'm really excited about the fact that we get to play again on Friday a little bit earlier than everybody else because I think it's a shorter week. Sometimes you just want your team to, regardless of a win or loss, like just move on to the next one and just get going again. So I think we're going to show up and do pretty well. Um, but of course, we have to wait to see. But what's happening? But um, yeah, and then we can go into the City match up 7 points, even though there's games in hand. Like I think psychologically, looking at the table and seeing that gap at 7 points potentially, like that's got to give you some kind of boost moving forward. You know what I mean? So we just got to take it one game at a time. And that City game is going to be the biggest game since I've been an Arsenal supporter. But first things first, we got to handle business against another team fighting for their lives in Southampton. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, bro, for sure. I won't say anything to you about criticizing the substitutes because
No, no, no. No, yeah.
yeah, you weren't giving a hard time to Arteta, like some of the things I've seen, which
I've
like,
seen it too. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like, come on, like the guy's done amazing. Like, you're gonna make mistakes here and there. And like I say, you can't even call it a mistake because we don't know the situation with players' fitnesses, and he's gone and put his faith in the players on the bench. Like I said, the players he's bringing on, hopeful that they will be able to turn it around. It's 2-2. We're trying to pick it up again and get that third goal, but it's just we weren't able to do that. And there's many reasons behind it. You got to give credit to West Ham. They did play well as well in the second half. So yeah, well, that's done now. Move on to the next one. As you said, Southampton, huge, huge game. Friday night. What's your prediction for this one?
I think we're going to do a lot better. I think it's also crucial that we're going to finally get to play at the Emirates again, right? So two straight home away games, hostile environments, going through the ringer, and it sucks. We can only come back with 2 out of 6 points, but I think it's going to be crucial to come out, especially the fans that get to go to the match, um, to just be as loud as possible, especially show Bukayo Saka some love. Let him know that despite all the nonsense that's on the internet, like we back our boy, we love him, um, and back the rest of the team, man, and and I think we can, we tend to come out firing on all cylinders at home. So I think we're gonna do that again. And again, like as I said, the first 30 minutes, the past two matches, we've come out flying, man. That's not a problem. It's never been a problem for us to come out and we've never I can't recall a game, even games we've lost, where we haven't come out and just pedal to the metal from the beginning. So I have all the confidence in the world that we've done it, that we'll do it. What's really going to be crucial is just maintaining that intensity and not letting Southampton, because we've seen it in this league, man, especially even against Southampton. You know, we never put them away, and they came back and drew with us 1-1 uh, earlier in the season. And I was looking at the table or the match fixtures as well for that one, and after that, we went on sort of a pretty solid run of Premier League games where we didn't lose again until um, I think it was the City match. So we've again, we go through these wobbles where we have these maybe string of disappointing performances. Last year they were almost cataclysmic, man, and we were losing and we were dropping 3 points and losing disappointingly. But then we turn it around and do big. I feel like we're managing the rough patches a lot better this time around, and so that's the pattern I'm seeing. Is I feel like we're going to turn it around. We just have to do it a little bit quicker than normally because like we can't go another game dropping points, just because the margins are going to get too thin. Um, Southampton is almost, um, you would say, hopeless a little bit. Like they're really at the bottom of the table. they have to put a lot of good results even just to get into the conversation of getting out of the relegation zone. So I think we have to be like sharks in the water, smell blood, and just go for the kill, man. And I have a feeling like that's what we're gonna do. Um, I feel like it's gonna be like 4-0. I think we'll go back to our winning ways for sure.
Yeah,
What do you
bro.
think?
I think it's gonna be. We're gonna be really on making sure we close this game out and we go 2-0 up this time. Make sure we get that third, fourth. I'm going for five. For
Mm,
5-0. Saying that though, we might look to, the last 20, 30 minutes, if we're comfortable winning 3-0, we might look to rest players for the City game. Maybe take our foot off the pedal a little bit. But we know the goal difference is important as well. But yeah, hoping it's gonna be a nice, comfortable 5-0 win. One thing you mentioned there about the stuff that's been online towards Saka, it's a disgrace. Some of the stuff that I've seen is absolutely ridiculous. This racism stuff, it's just, I don't know what's going on with people. Why would you be posting things like that? And just the fickle nature as well. I was talking about how with Arteta,
mm.
people are criticizing him. Just a few games ago, praising Saka, the great season he's having. He done the double double in terms of assists and goals. But that was only a few games ago. He got 2 goals and an assist in the Crystal Palace game, wasn't it? So it's just such a short
Yeah,
time ago. Everyone's praising him. He's having a great season. Miss one penalty. Anyone can miss a penalty. The best
yeah,
players that have ever played this game of football have missed penalties. Yeah, it happens. It's just I don't know what goes on online and why people do such stupidness. Why all this hatred and the racism? It's unacceptable. It just should not be happening. They need to try and do something to get rid of these sort of things happening. I don't know how they can do it because it's hard to identify people online we know, but something needs to be done. And yeah, really, so I feel sorry for Saka having to read some of these things that he would have seen, but he knows that the majority of our fans love him. I think a lot of these things are coming from other teams' fans as well.
yeah.
Uh, he knows he's well loved. I've had the pleasure of actually seeing him before, and he's such a nice, humble guy. And we're blessed to have such a great player. He is our star boy. We love you, Saka, and we always will. Looking forward to you signing that long-term contract. He mentioned in his post as well that he's going to do his best to make up for it. And we know he will. He's having an outstanding season, and he's such a great player. He's only going to get better and better.
Yeah, something you just mentioned about that post he put out, right? Like saying like apologies, I take full responsibility or whatever. Um, I love like somebody posted like a recent one he did. I think if you remember back to like the season where there was no fans and we had that horrible run, and there was that one point where Bukayo Saka did the same thing. He put out a post like this is really disappointing, Gooners. Like I'm sorry, we're gonna turn this around. You guys deserve better. And then we went on like a really really hot tear. Um, and so I feel like again he's this kind of player. I even read something about Matt Turner, the backup goalie, the American. Like he's been doing a lot of interviews recently or whatever, and he mentioned how Bukayo Saka is still or it is one of the first ones like there at the training center, and Matt Turner was like, I like to get there early or whatever because he has a newborn, right? So he's like he gets up early anyway. I like to get there early, and he goes nearly all the time. Bukayo Saka's like already there when I by the time I get there. So like I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to turn it around. A lot of these players are going to turn it around. Like Granit Xhaka came out and said, some really encouraging things about it. Like some of it got like twisted or whatever, but the way he said it, I probably could have used a little bit of polishing. But the way what he said was like if you think this was going to be easy, like then you're on something else. Like you don't belong here, right? Like nobody said this was going to be easy. This was going to be hard. We drop points because essentially what I said earlier, like we're going to get the best attacks from every single team we play for the remaining of the season because every game matters not only to us but to the teams we're playing. West Ham are fighting to stay in the Premier League. So is Southampton. Before that, Liverpool is outside looking in on the top four. They need all the points they can get. So all these games are just so crucial for everybody involved that they're cup finals for them too, right? Like we keep saying like, oh, we got 7 cup finals, 6, 5. Like those are what those teams are saying too. So it's just the stakes are high. And I think we're just coping with that right now. But I also think that we'll be able to bounce back because we've shown it already. We've answered these tests, and we have a few more coming up. But I feel very confident, like overall as a team, like we have the right attitude, and I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, bro. Let's hope so.
Let's
Hope
hope so.
let's hope this is our little blip. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, we had a couple other blips in the season. We bounced back so well. So hopefully this is a little blip. Blips over. We can now go on a run. We just got a worst case, get a draw at Etihad, win the rest of our games, and we're champions. There's
Yep.
only 10 games we're talking about. We can do this. So gotta keep our hopes high, positive. Let's do this. We can do this. So, bro, just before we go, as usual, gonna get some crit score predictions from you. I'll start with the FA Cup this time, not the Premier League, because it's the semi-finals weekend. Man City are playing Sheffield United.
Uh yeah, I think they're gonna as you said too, rest a bunch of players. They have the squad depth to do it. Um you said they're playing Sheffield United. Uh Sheffield United have done really well to make it this far. They're not in the Premier League, right? They're in Championship. Um I think they're gonna play City hard. It'll be a tight game, but I think City end up winning 3-1. Don't
Okay.
have much excitement for that one.
Okay, and then the other semi-final should be a really good game. This one, Brighton against Man United.
Ooh, Brighton are looking for everything, and Man United also are also doing that as well. I might end up tuning into that one for sure because that's going to be a good matchup. Um, Brighton are flying, man. They dominated Chelsea, man. It was incredible to watch. Um, I think they might go full roster for this one too. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say Brighton win this one 2-1 again.
Okay, and then some Premier League predictions. Big game for the top four battle between Newcastle and Tottenham.
Oh, that one. Newcastle are doing a little bit better than before. They're out with or San Maximan is out for a few weeks. Tottenham have got a lot of players out. Both of them are kind of wobbling a little bit. I'm going to take uh I'm going to take a draw, 2-2 draw at St. James's Park with nobody stepping up to the plate to do anything. So 2-2.
Okay, cool, bro. It's going to be another exciting weekend of action. Let's hope we can start the weekend getting our win. And then, yeah, bro, all roads to that huge game against Man City. I'm looking forward to previewing that one with you next week.
Yeah.
See your time, bro.
Always a pleasure, man. Hopefully, hope we can get a good result on Friday. Feel good about ourselves going into the weekend, and then we'll talk on Sunday. And yeah, look forward to the biggest match, as you said, for you since the Champions League final, and for me, this is probably the biggest match as a supporter since I became a supporter. So monumental, man, and God, what an incredible experience this season has been. So hopefully, we can continue the good times and see what's up. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. Can't wait to it. Can't wait.
Yeah, bro. Exciting times. So that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.